canoeing, it's all about taking part.
A gorgeous day, third and final day of the unlimited Dusi Canoe Marathon. Beautiful pictures from the air up high as we greet you. We're sitting here at the Blue Lagoon at the finish line right outside the city centre of Durban. Dave McLeod has joined me after an epic finish, which I'm sure we'll hear about a little later, for his 18th attempt. His partner was doing his 20th. But Dave, before we get to that, all the old timers are saying the Dusi this year has been like the old Dusis, those ones that tax absolutely every department of your canoeing.
Absolutely, and how appropriate. I mean, here we're talking about the 60th anniversary, so we need to reflect back to the days of Dr. Ian Player and those pioneers starting out. And at the same time, we're talking about Graham Pope Ellis. We're paying tribute to the king, who would have been doing his 47th. So the fact that we can look back over 60 years of how this race has evolved, and over the 3 days, we've had a taste of 3 very, very different Dusi days. So it's almost like we've done a synopsis of the history of the Dusi. And for the people that are here, a lot of them are doing it very specifically because it's the 60th and it's the Pope tribute race, so it's been right.
Day one, everyone was talking about the big 5, but in the end, there was just the big 1.
There was the big one. Everything was turned onto its head. And day one, as the start of the Pope tribute here, was medium to low. It was hard. It was the runner's day. There was no quarter asked, no quarters given on that day. And it really did sort out the men from the boys.
We're coming to you live, and behind us you can see all the finishers. These are men and women who have spent a long time on the water, and let me tell you that there's still going to be a lot in the next hour as we bring you these pictures live from the Blue Lagoon. Let's take you back now to day one. It was a great day's racing.
It was a cool and overcast start at Camps Drift in Pietermaritzburg as the big field arrived. About 1,750 paddlers gearing up for the K1 Championship race, that is the 2011 edition of the Unlimited Dusi. A huge logistic team in place to make sure that the paddlers are going to be safe throughout the duration of the race. But the big paddlers getting ready for action.
And how do you control the butterflies just before the start here?
Yeah, it's hard to control, but it helps the nerves. A bit of adrenaline helps you race harder. But yeah, we're in for, I think, a very exciting race there, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, I went tripping yesterday. I haven't seen the water this morning, but yesterday wasn't too bad. But was I think it was a medium level, so I think it's all right.
Are you feeling the pressure?
No, I'm all right. I think I'm more relaxed this year. I don't know why, but yeah.
Then what's the training been like for the last few weeks?
It's been really interrupted. I've been sick for the last maybe 3 weeks and managed just to get better yesterday afternoon. So it's just in time.
Competition for the next 3 days, who are you marking?
Geez, it's a loaded year this year. And Scott, he'll be really good. Eric Zondi might be good today. Hank McGregor will be good. Andrew Burkett will be good. All the guys are here.
And there was every prospect of that happening as the A-Batch, with a new record number of black paddlers on the front row, got underway. The Carbineers cannon fires, and it's Hank McGregor off like a lightning bolt, charging away from the start. In fact, he's leading that bunch on a close inside line. The water's very shallow on the inside of this corner. So in amongst the top contenders, Michael Mbunji, the darling of the valley. Alongside him, one of the valley's superstars, Eric Zondi. Andy Burkett, just 20 years old, K2 winner last year, 4 times champion, lining up a hat-trick. And Stott, Hank McGregor, K1 and K2 winner. And the Enigma, Len Jenkins, the latest of the entries to be accepted, and incidentally, holder of the record from 2001. There's the first obstacle, the Ernie Pierce Weir. There's so much to be gained by being first down the weir, and Hank McGregor has won that privilege, but Len Jenkins is right on his inside. McGregor goes through, Jenkins goes underneath him, and this is a disaster for McGregor. Oh, there's some heated exchanges on the water. McGregor's going backwards, Jenkins gets away free, and McGregor is not happy about that. And Stott right in the mix as well. They wind their way through Alexandra Park, and it's Jenkins doing the pulling as they come down to the Witness Weir, which is the commercial road that the paddlers are going under at the moment. This is negotiated down a fish chute down the right-hand side, and 3 boats side by side. Jenkins leads them, Andy Burkett with his new short haircut just on his right, and Ant Stott just next to him. At low-level bridge, once again, it's the same group with Andy Burkett, a significant presence, Hank McGregor now off the bunch, and Michael Mbunjwa a lot further back than he would like at this stage in the game. They're heading to the takeout for the first of a number of portages. Day one key for these portages. And for the fast paddlers, this one across the Sewerage Farm hop is an absolute must. Len Jenkins still leading at this stage, but as soon as they get to the top of the hill, Andy Burkett and Michael Mbunjwa start showing their hands. Campbell's Farm, and this is where there's a key split. 3 of the top contenders take the conventional route down Campbell's Farm, while Ant Stott and Andy Burkett elect to stay in the river and paddle a little bit further down and take the Pines takeout. Now this is the roll of the dice. It's a huge gamble, and you'll only be able to test it when they get to the joint put-in at the end of this long portage. Hank McGregor cutting a disconsolate figure, and Andy Burkett, a man on a mission, a man who's been training away from the media limelight, and those who know him know that he means business. And Stott walking up through the steep path that's been cut, and Michael Mbunjwa, widely regarded as the best runner with the boat, doing what he does best. Perhaps putting himself under pressure because he knows that this is where he could set up a lead for himself. He is finding himself under pressure from Burkett though. Mbunjwa, Burkett, 2 great runners with the boat, and Stott knowing that he has to be simply in contention at the end of the stage to give himself a viable chance of a 3rd successive K1 victory in the Unlimited Dusi. But it's Andy Burkett who's surprising a lot of people by being highly competitive with the boat. And you can see Ant Stott's decision has been a 50-50 gamble, because as the 2 paths meet, the leading bunch, which was split at Campbell's Farm, is basically side by side. Game on! Michael Mbunjwa, having run himself into a 1-minute lead at the put-in at Campbell's Farm, now knows that he has to make that count. He's going to have to deliver on the water now if he's going to capitalize on what he ran himself into. And Stott, wily, patient, not making any mistakes. And Andy Burkett bouncing down the rapids on the other side of Campbell's Farm, making sure that he stays right in contention. And here's Eric Zondi, a real surprise. Left out of the original Big 5, but he's now way ahead of Hank McGregor, who can just shake his head disconsolately. Things are not going Hank the Tank's way. The second of the long portages, they head up to the top of Guinea Fowl. This is Michael Mbunjwa doing what he does best, stretching those long legs, and Ant Stott now reduced to a walk. He knows he can't compete with him. He's going to try and minimize the damage and do whatever he can to stay in contact. Andy Burkett striding down with the boat in hand. He's looking cool and composed, and a man who's been doing some fantastic preparation for this year's race. But he is out of touch with Michael Mbunjwa, who at this stage in the game is the man holding all of the cards. And Stott running powerfully, electing not to drag his boat, sending it down the hill. And it's Andy Burkett who has now run himself into a position of authority. He is suddenly holding all the cards. Not many of the critics would have given you this. You see, he's got rudder problems. His rudder is sticking up, and that's the last thing he needs, because just around the corner is a series of rapids like the Maze and Mission. He's also got Bungee, Michael Mbunjwa, right on his rudder. And Stott putting into the water. He knows that he is going to do what he can in the last hour and 15 minutes with Eric Zondi right behind him to minimize the gap that the 2 front runners have got. Into the final closing section of the valley as they head down towards the finish at Dusi Bridge, and the 2 paddlers are sticking to it side by side. Michael Mbunjwa, Andy Burkett is now putting the hammer down, and he's worked himself into something of a lead. And Stott finding himself in the mix as they go down into Mission Rapid. Andy Burkett picking a beautiful line. The river at a medium level, making it technical and very demanding. No problem for Burkett. As they exit Mission, Stott is now in 2nd place. He does meticulous preparation here, and not the greatest of lines for Eric Zondi as he comes into Mission, but he rescues it. A half mud roll, and it's enough to get him out of trouble. That could have been a disaster for Zondi, but he is stuck, and he leaks 1 position as he bounces down through the lower ends and luckily manages to retain his opportunity. Mission, the last major rapid and the biggest challenge of the day. From that, the paddlers have about 2 kilometers to the short hop on the tar road over Finger Neck, and then a relatively simple portage that takes them to Cabbage Tree. And at this river level, it's a no-brainer for the paddlers. Andy Burkett right on the rudder of Ant Stott as they go up the hill at Finger Neck. He's grimacing, he's digging deep. By now, the sun has burnt through the clouds. It's beginning to get hot in the Valley of 1,000 Hills. But this is Andy Burkett. Look at the face. He's claiming it. It's a new record for the under-21. Just a shade inside Len Jenkins' 2001 time, and Stott 45 seconds back.
Talk to us about tomorrow with a minute's lead. Is that enough on day 2?
Well, we'll have to see. Hey, I'll have to push hard at the start and try and hold it for as long as I can.
So a quick look back at the results. Andy Burkett posting a new under-21 and day one overall stage record. Eric Zondi excelling in third. Michael Mbanjwa in fourth. Some really strong female paddlers. Abby Adey, right alongside her, Hillary Pitchford. She'll love it if it's big and gnarly. Jenna Ward, one of the rising stars coming through the ranks at the moment. And Robin Kime, winner last year with Abby Miedemer. The women all sizing up what is going to be a great race. Many billing it as a two-horse race between Robin Kime and Abby Adey.
You're always a little bit nervous. I always feel the nerves most after the start of the men's race. You hear that big cannon and you see them go off and they're frantic there. And I know that's going to happen to me in a few minutes now. But after the start, once we're down any PS, I should calm down a little bit and just settle into the race.
Yes, I'm extremely nervous. This will be my first Dusi, so I don't know what to expect, but I'm just going to go out there and have lots of fun, I think.
And a great way to approach it as well. The seeded women all in C batch. They too get underway, courtesy of the Natal Carbineers cannon. And everything to be gained from the women by getting first to the Ernie Piercewear right around the corner. And a fantastic start from Robin Kime. Everybody seeing a head-to-head clash between Robin Kime and Abby Adey as being the ultimate when it comes to the women's race. She's been doing plenty of preparation, a second-year student from Marties in Stellenbosch. She's gone down to get her studies underway and gone back, and she is first going down Ernie Piercewear. Something of a skilled river paddler, but she's undone herself. She swam at the bottom. This is a disaster. And it's Abby Adey who gleefully grabs hold of the opportunity and scoots herself into the lead. Robin Kime will be frustrated by that, but she'll also be mindful of the fact that this is something of a regular trick that Abby Miedemer, while she was the Dusi Queen, used to do. She used to swim at that first weir and then bounce back to win the first day and ultimately win the race. But it's Abby Adey who's leading the women's race as she gets to the witness weir, sliding down the fish chute with aplomb. No problem at all, but you can see it's only cost about 30 seconds for Robin Kime with that swim at the Ernie Pierce weir. She glides effortlessly down the witness weir. Not a great deal of damage done. Low-level bridge on the outskirts of the city of Pietermaritzburg will lead the girls into the first of the big portages at Campbell's Farm. Now, which portage option will the girls take? And they've basically all taken the same one at the traditional Campbell's takeout. So not many decisions being taken, but you'll see where the runners do converge. That's the ultimate opportunity to decide. But this is Robin Kime. It's a charge from behind, spectacular. Running up Campbell, she's eked a massive lead, and Abby Adey is in catch-up mode. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do when you're running with a boat on your shoulder, but as we crest the top of the hill, Robin Kime now having opened up a substantial lead. She's looking calm and composed as she puts her boat down into the water at the end of the Guinea Fowl portage and into the water that leads to Maze and ultimately to Mission Rapid. Robin Kime all calm and composed. Abby Adey also not too flustered. She knows she's behind. She'll be getting splits from her seconds just to know how big that deficit is. And as she paddles with Hillary Pitchford, she'll be using the opportunity to work together and try and reel in some of the gap that Robin Kime has opened up. Robin thoroughly enjoying the opportunity of mixing it with some of the other paddlers on the field. As she winds down into the closing stages, she's on her own. She's broken contact completely with the other girls as she glides in immaculate lines down Mission Rapid. Clearly done a lot of homework. Abby Adey also doing a great job of it. These two girls, evidence of a high standard of women's canoeing, particularly in rough water river marathons, that the new generation is exhibiting. From Mission, it's a tough hour, which includes the brief run over Fingerneck, and then the decision about whether to take the Carriage Tree portage or to stay in that medium-level river. For the girls, it might be a 50-50 call. Robin Kime holding all of the cards here, and the stopwatches show that that split is growing and growing bigger all of the time. She's clearly been doing a lot of work running with the boat. So is Abby Adey, the Howick resident. She's seen running as a key part of her preparation. But you can see there's time to walk and catch her breath and get splits and advice from her seconds as the blue boat of Robin Kime heads back down to the water. Hillary Pitchford having a great day. She's not the strongest of runners with a boat. She would have loved a big gnarly river. That would have played into her hands. Robin Kime gets to the finish at Dusi Bridge with a 7-minute lead.
Robin, what was the secret to your success today?
I think I've done good training. My running this year has been better. In the previous years I've been battling from shin splints. This year I've managed to get it right, so I've been doing solid running training for a couple of months, and I think that helps. So yeah, I think it's all in the training. On the day you've just got to grin and bear it.
So at the end of a riveting day's racing, Robin Kime
Let me take you on a little ride. can show you things from the other side. Come watch how the flowers grow if you talk to me.
Morning, morning, morning. How you doing? Lekker, thanks, eh?
Watch the sun as it falls and hides. Does the fire still burn? Does it burn inside? Let me know, do the feelings go? 'Cause I won't step back, no, I won't let go.
Bucks are whipping, man.
You'll catch them.
Show you life on the other side. Let me know when you wanna go, and don't look back, and I won't let go, won't let go, won't let go.
Camaraderie is good. It's excellent. It's a joy to be here. It's not too bad in the valley. Water level's good.
The love on the outside in.
Yes, there's a new rock I've never seen in my life before.
Fantastic, a little bit low, but always good to be on the river.
Oh, I paddled with my wife. Great.
It's so simple with Telkom. For just 369 Rand per month, you get ADSL broadband internet, plus a free ADSL modem on a 24-month contract, plus free calls Telkom to Telkom weeknights and weekends, plus a free 8-hour 3G modem with once-off 500 megs free data. So call us now on 0800 000011. Visit your nearest Telkom direct store or SMS Simple and your name to 34702. T's and C's apply.
This isn't about two teams taking the field, it's about taking on the challenge.
This is a breakaway try.
A good old tight head and a cheeky smile.
This is the grace of the sidestep and the cruelty of the handoff.
The underdog upset.
This is the big and the small, the bounce of the ball.
Before you think this is about who wants it more, why don't you ask the losing team how much they want a second chance?
This is about finding the gap.
Closing a gap and playing so hard that it shows on your face.
This is a determination on the 5-meter line.
The pressure of the up and under on your own 22.
This is the scream of the commentator, the passion of the die-hard fans. This is rugby. The 2011 rugby season, exclusive to your home of rugby, your world of champions.
Maybe it's because I'm tired. Maybe it's because the dog's watching. Maybe that movie did freak me out.
At the finish of the Unlimited Dusi after day 2 here at the Inanda Dam, Dave McLeod joins us on his way to completing his 18th race. But Dave, a huge contrast between the finishes at the front of the field and conditions right now at the end.
Yeah, well, I hope you can see some of the faces in the background, because day 2 is always very different to day 1. You suddenly hit a big river, having started off on a tiny river. The whole scale of the event changes. But this year, multiply that by about 3, because the heat came, the river was a lot fuller than anybody would have expected. And then, of course, you get onto the dam for 10 kilometers and you've had this howling wind. The waves are 2-3 foot around the corner. So for these poor souls that are finishing right now, they're having to dig really deep. This is pretty much close to your ultimate Dusi day.
Talk about white water, and I'm not even talking about the rapids, the white water on the dam. Before we recap on day 2's action, let's take you back to how things went after the first 45 kilometers of day 1.
At the start, all eyes were on the defending K1 champ, Ant Stott.
Yeah, it's hard to control, but it helps the nerves, a bit of adrenaline, helps you race harder. But yeah, we're in for, I think, a very exciting race there. I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Once the Carbineers cannon fired, the lead on day one chopped and changed throughout the 43 kilometers of the stage. Hank McGregor was the first of the men to lead the race as he went sliding down Ernie Pierce-Weir, but it was to be short-lived as he got snarled with Len Jenkins. That gifted Len Jenkins the lead, and he led as the race wound out of Pietermaritzburg. Once they hit the portages, Michael Mbanjwa took over, the third leader in the first hour of the race. He ran himself into a strong position with Ant Stott and Andy Burkett right on his rudder. Suddenly it was down to 3 as Len Jenkins and Hank McGregor were fading into the distance. Andy Burkett hanging on to an early lead, going through Mission Rapid and then up Finger Neck, eventually getting to the finish, claiming it.
Yeah, definitely I had a good race from the start. We stuck together with Ant, myself and Bungie on the approaches to Campbell's. As soon as we got to the top of Campbell's, I had a bent rudder which Ant helped me try and correct in the river, but it still was a problem, so I had to change the rudder. On the portage I lost a minute there and managed to catch up, and I thought I paid the price for that a bit later, cramping the legs. But I still managed to carry through and pull out, I think, a minute lead on Ant, so I didn't have such bad luck, but could have gone a little bit better for me today.
So here's the way they went to bed after day one. Andy Burkett with a handy cushion over Ant Stott. Eric Zondi styling in third. On to the women's race, and a smaller field of elite women seeded in C-Batch taking off across the flat waters of Camp's Drift. The women's race billed as a 2-horse race. Robin Kime coming into it after victory in the K2 last year and starting it in disastrous fashion. She tries to mudroll it at the bottom of Ernie Pierce, but that's her out of the boat, and Abby Adey goes slicing past her into the lead. But just as Abby Miedema before her had done, she was able to bounce back, wasting just 30 seconds in the process, and before long, it was Robin Kime back in the lead, and once she got a sniff at the front, there was no stopping the former Epworth girl. A look back on day one, Robin Kime and Abby Adey making the race their own with Hilary Pitchford in third.
Certainly not all lost for Ant Stott, but a lot of work to still be done, and that's where day 2 comes in. And Dave, if we take a look at how day 2 unfolded, an incredible racing day, but the line had been drawn in the sand.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was all about the risks and the gambles, balancing risk against reward. Ant Stott showing this capacity to charge over this bit of river, not because he's a great athlete, because he's so well researched and his preparation has been immaculate. If you've done all that homework, then you'll know where to charge and where to make up those milliseconds. And the fact that he closed down that gap so quickly speaks volumes about how well prepared he was. And then, of course, the drama plays itself out on the day. This race protects nobody. Nobody is preserved from the hiccups and the dramas, and it happened to the man who at the moment is probably the best Dusi athlete in the field.
Now let's find out how things went on day 2. 43 kilometers worth of whitewater paddling in more ways than one.
Day 2 is legendarily the tough day. Starts on the remaining stretches of the Umsen Dusi before the paddlers go through 2 portages at the saddles. That cuts out 2 long horseshoes in the river, and then they meet the confluence with the Umgeni and everything changes. Suddenly you're in big water, and with 25 cubics coming out of Nagle Dam, it was big water. The paddlers opting to portage at Ibis Point, full enough to shoot gauging weir, and then the long pull down to the takeout at Ngomeni Hill, where the paddlers bypass Mamba Gorge. Impossible in racing kayaks. The put-in a few moments later leads to the big 3, Gumtree, Tombi and Hippo Rapids, before the long pull all the way down to the headwaters of Inanda Dam. Big Bend Rapid, the last of the big challenges before the paddlers get to the sand grabs and the flatter stretches. The bridge signals the start of Inanda Dam, and then the energy-sapping 10-kilometer haul around the endless corners, which takes you to the overnight stop at the Mcinsi Resort. Dawn deep in the Valley of 1,000 Hills at Dusi Bridge as the paddlers wake for day 2 of the Unlimited Dusi, a 43-kilometer stage. And after initial speculation that the Umgeni River would be running fairly low, making for a taxing hard day, the paddlers woke to the news that the Umgeni was charging at 25 plus cubics. That would change everything. Suddenly the runner's advantage would be negated, and the all-round paddlers capable of handling big water would be in the frame.
Yeah, it's definitely a very difficult day now to catch Andrew and Ant. Ant is always very good in day 2. He have caught me several times, even if I have like 4-minute lead, and so I think it will be definitely difficult for me to catch up to them. But I will not give up. This is a race. Anything can happen, so I'll keep chasing.
The paddlers get down to the water, preparing to start in elapsed time. The leading men and leading women starting together, and that privilege goes to Robin Keim and Andy Burkett. A huge amount of support for the 20-year-old former Maritzburg College schoolboy, and Stott starting 45 seconds behind him. Everybody knows day 2 is Ant Stott's day, but just how quickly will he be able to reel in Andy Burkett? Just around the corner, a portage around the Dusi Bridge weir. Burkett has researched this here. He's quickly back into his boat. That 45-second lead is still intact. And Stott right on his rudder. He's got a reputation for being able to work really fast, and that's all through meticulous research on the lower stretches of the Dusi and when they hit the big Umgani River. Eric Zondi, who had a flyer on the third day in third, not only does he have to try and attack Stott in front of him, but he also knows that Michael Mbanjwa, the super talented former winner of this race, is right behind him, and he poses a real threat to the last spot on the podium. Mbanjwa, disappointed by his first day, is out to reassure his fans in the valley that he can do a whole lot better. The Saddles Portage, just 45 minutes into the race, and Andy Burkett is still hanging on to the lead, but he's running for his life because the splits he's getting from his second is that the Ant Stott machine is reeling him in minute by minute, and that's Stott running over the crest of the hill, and you can see that the gap is closing all the time. He's got 20 meters as he heads down to the second saddle. The game is up for Burkett. Stott is right on his rudder. This is at the put-in of the second saddle. Andy Burkett is elected to put his boat in early on and wind his way through the reed and the hyacinth that is choking the channel, and he's got it wrong. He's pegged his boat in a bunch of reed. Now Ant Stott, who's elected to run another 100 meters further down to the conventional put-in, is able to get away. Eventually, it's Burkett who's doing all the hard work, and Ant Stott who's content just to sit on his wave. Now the hunter is being hunted. Ant Stott, a wily tactician and a man who knows how to pace himself, particularly in this section of the valley where the heat and the distance are key factors over the 43 kilometers down to Inanda Dam. Into the confluence section, and the paddlers suddenly find themselves confronted with 25 cumex plus grey bouncing water coming out of Nagle Dam. Ant Stott leads them into Washing Machine. They go through the central channel. They take the first drop. Ant Stott's K1 being bucked in the big water. He hits the bottom lateral, and this is what causes the Washing Machine effect. Square on, and he comes out of there clean. Eric Zondi taking a far more cautious line around the Washing Machine, but this is a well-schooled line that's come from years of practicing in the valley. One of the stars of the current Change Your Life program, Eric Zondi, now being chased hard by Michael Mbanjwa. Look at Mbanjwa having to go through Washing Machine with hyacinth all the way around his boat. It really does aggravate what is a difficult enough task. But Bunji is up to it, and he gets away clean. Now, gauging weir, the two leaders are side by side, and Stott leading as Andy Burkett is happy just to follow the wise man of the Dusi down. At this level, it's an easy shoot down the left-hand side, and the two race leaders get through gauging weir without any problem at all. But by this stage, Mbanjwa has made his move and taken Zondi. He's now up into third as he goes sliding effortlessly down the face of gauging weir. Bunji away clear, and here's Eric Zondi in fourth, also on a well-schooled line. He bounces out of the water quick and fast. He's away clean. Marianne Foley, the bridge that marks the exact halfway point of the overall race, and Ant Stott and Andy Burkett taking two different lines, bumping into each other. Stott is a good enough sportsman to smile wryly as Andy Burkett gets the jump on him and goes through the right-hand opening, and Stott takes a slightly different gap. Effectively, they are still together as they go through the halfway point. Old Baldy gives you an idea of the massive granite outcrops that mold the rapids in the valley below. Very distinctive feature of this side of the valley. It's a stunning part of the valley, and it's become a very popular place for spectators to hang out and enjoy the racing. The racing is turning out to be very hot on the day. At the other side of Ngomeni Hill, it's Andy Burkett who's now setting the pace, and Stott takes off his drag line. He's got about a 50-meter deficit on Burkett as they get to the put-in. Now, the put-in is at the exit of Mamba Gorge, and there are three big rapids lurking just around the corner. The first of those, Gumtree, is literally 200 meters, followed in quick succession by Tombi and Hippo Rocks. So Ant Stott now content to follow Andy Burkett as they head into Gumtree and Tombi, which has a reputation of being a game breaker on day 2 of the Unlimited Dusi. Here's Michael Mbanjwa, who's done so much of his homework in this section of the valley. He's racing hard and closing in the gap. Andy Burkett now in the churning water, coming in past Pinnacle Rock. This is Tombi. He's got an ideal line, but it's rough, it's mean and gnarly. He takes a wobble to the right, but he does manage to stabilize it. Good work, Andy Burkett. And Stott with Hyacinth all on his boat. He goes over A huge moment for Ant Stott as the defending champ is out of his boat. You'll see he's caught in the suckback as well, so this is going to cost him time that he really cannot afford. Eric Zondi running down, he's going to try and see what he can do. He has an opportunity. If the cards play themselves out in front of him, he could find himself in second or third with Ant Stott swimming in the waters of Tombi. Hippo Rocks a little bit further down. Andy Burkett gets his K1's nose bucked to the left, but he maintains masterful control over the rocks. The water full enough to allow Ant Stott to slide over the rocks to the right of Hippo, and that's a sign of the bullet of water which gradually abated throughout the day. Ant Stott through Hippo Rocks clear, and here comes Michael Mbanjwa picking careful lines into Tombi, but he picks it A1 and slices away without any problem at all. The turbulent water caused by the big water release certainly asking lots of questions of the paddlers as they go through the big three of Gumtree, Tombi and Hippo. Here's Eric Zondi now taking a right-hand line. Oh, he tail walks, gets kicked to the left. Great paddling from Eric Zondi. Anybody who doubted his big water credentials, look and weep. He's away clear. Lance Kime now coming into Tombi. He lines up the drop, lacks a little bit in boat speed, but he powers through the stopper at the bottom. Lance Kime away clear. Here comes Hank McGregor taking the cautious line, hugging the pinnacle rock, kicks him a little bit to the left, but he's in clean, clear water. Hank the Tank having a much better day too.
Well, the atmosphere down here this morning in the valley at the Unlimited Dusi has just been absolutely incredible. It was fantastic to see the leading paddlers come down here. The look of determination and focus on those guys' faces was just really, really remarkable. There's no doubt that there's only one place in the world that they want to be right now, and that's going down the river in this valley. This has been an extremely special event, so much so in fact that the International Canoe Federation now consider the Dusi to be in the top 10 canoe events in the world, and we're just absolutely thrilled to be part of it.
For the rest of the field, simply being in this grand section of the middle Umgani River is an awe-inspiring experience. The massive granite rocks, the huge hills, it's a fantastic place for spectators to hang out and enjoy the day, supporting their paddlers and just soaking up the vibe of the Unlimited Dusi. Just around the corner, Inanda Dam and the huge S-bend that it throws to the paddlers. Andy Burkett got to the headwaters of Inanda Dam with a 2-minute lead, but Ant Stott, a man on a mission behind him, white-anted into that lead, and before the media that were following the contingent realized it, the two were together and bolting down to the finish at the Mcinsi Resort. Andy Burkett somewhat disconsolate about the fact that Ant Stott had reeled him in, and you can see Ant is now playing cat and mouse here. He realizes that he's holding all of the cards and he's getting Andy Burkett to do the pull into the finish, probably with a good intention of dropping the hammer, which is what he does, and takes the stage victory. Ant Stott leading by less than a second, it's half a boat length, as they finish up day 2.
All I could think of coming into the dam is what a disastrous day. I had a big swim at Tombi Rapid which lasted me 2.5 to 3 minutes, which is just unnecessary in a race as close as this. And he's in great form, so any advantage I give him is just a huge waste for me.
What happened?
To be honest, I got a small piece of hyacinth on my nose, and my boat didn't cut across to where I wanted it to in the rapid, and ended up going into the main drop a bit too far right, and I just fell out as a result of being in the wrong place.
Yes, a great day on the water today. Ant was very strong. After taking a swim, he ended up catching back up to me on the dam, but I had to work hard to try and stay with him towards the end of the day. But definitely a great day for both of us, and it's a tight race, so tomorrow will be exciting.
Michael Mbanjwa all smiles as he comes home in 3rd place, making amends for his poor first day. Eric Zondi having to be content with 4th place. But have a look at the results here, and Len Jenkins posting the 2nd fastest time on the day, scorching out of the 20s to 7th overall.
Some incredible racing on day 2 as well. The chairman of the Unlimited Group, Ian Bucken, now joins us as well. And Ian, before we talk, Dave, more about the women's race, talk to us about the first 2 days. You've now been involved for all the planning, but 2 days worth of racing. How do you feel about it?
Arnold, you know, one big thing impacted on me during this race, it's been the camaraderie and the sportsmanship. I never believed that top sportsmen would work with each other so well. You know, people helping each other when we were up at Hippo Rock today, and man, it was incredible. Guys taking a spill, losing their boats, losing their paddles, other people helping them, but not just in the bulk of the field. The leaders were doing the same sort of thing, and I mean, That is the sort of sport that anybody wants to be involved in.
That's quite clearly why your guys are involved.
Absolutely.
Let's talk for a second, Dave, and that's the beauty of the sport. Before we get on to the women's race, these guys are prepared to stop, lose time in their own race, and even the top guys like Ansted Stott did yesterday, and help out.
Absolutely. Ian's put his finger right on the pulse of it. It's what sets this sport aside from any other. In the heat of battle, they're willing to compromise their own position in the race to help somebody out. It's not a fly-by-night thing. It happens regularly in the paddling community, and it's special.
Ian, just before we release you to go and enjoy more of your company's success, it's been a very successful foray into the world of sports sponsorship in South Africa.
Well, what excites me is that a lot of people are getting out of sports sponsorship, and I just don't understand that. I mean, they're going down current, we're going up current, okay? And that's the way to do it, really. And it's been a great win for us. Great people to work with in the Canoe Club, the Natal Canoe Club. They are just absolutely amazing. You know, the one thing that really impressed me in the sport, Arnold, another thing, is that the volunteers. Do you know that there are 2,000 people here who volunteer every year, some of them for the last 17, 20 years? That's incredible, and we love that.
It is incredible. Let me also tell you how incredible the women's race was today, because the young lady known as Robs just pulled a bigger gap as far as she could paddle today on day 2.
Introducing the new 2011 Nissan X-Trail. Live the X-Life.
It's Supersport's #1 hit golf show, Super Golf. Sensational. Get down to scratch with professional golfing tips. Keep up to date with the latest news and results, including the ladies, junior and amateur circuits. Discover the best local and international courses and exclusive interviews from the world's best players. That's Super Golf every Wednesday evening, live and exclusive to Supersport, and proudly sponsored by Telkom Business.
A change in me, a change in you. Funny how fragile change is. Seasons rise, seasons.
The FA Cup, live on Supersport, your world of champions. Broadcast proudly brought to you by BizHub from Canoe, South Africa.
When she got out of bed, Robin Keim had the comfort of knowing that she had a 7-minute lead in the bank. So when she started with the leading man in elapsed time, she knew that she didn't have to do that much to keep Abby Adey off her tail. Abby Adey also giving us to believe that she wasn't going to be taking that many risks to try and reel it in. She wanted to try and keep it tidy on the river on day 2, particularly with the Umgani being full. A full Umgani would have been good news for this lady, Hilary Pitchford. She loves it as the river gets bigger. And here's Alex Adey, the twin sister of Abby Adey, taking off in 4th place. The first order of business for the girls, the portage at the Dusi Bridge Weir. All smiles for Robin Keim, and she can afford to do that. She's worked hard to get herself into a position which is a very strong one. Abby Adey coming into the portage takeout, running it hard. She's not going to want to try and leak any time unnecessarily. If the day works out according to plan for her, then she'll be able to narrow that deficit. But Robin Keim wasn't going to have her style cramped. As soon as she hit the confluence, she was ready to have some fun. Measured risk versus reward, she hopped around the side of washing machine while Abby Adey decided that she was going to shoot it, and takes a very wise line down the right. Staying away from all of the trouble, has an unwanted visit of the hyacinth at the bottom. Now here's Hilary Pitchford, and you'll see what I mean when I said that she likes it in the rough water. Alex Adey also having a lot of fun, bouncing down to the right as she goes through washing machine, then required a very sharp turn. Back up to the front as the portage at Ibis Point sees Robin Keim with not another paddler in sight.
She was also one of the girls to take on gauging weir. She's done her homework here. She gets through there clean. Fast forward a little further downriver to the Marianne Foley Causeway, a popular spectator spot. Abby 80 solidly in second, Hilary Pitchford looking comfortable and composed in third, and the other 80 sister Alex 80 sitting pretty in fourth. On the other side of the Ngomeni Hill Portage, preparing to head back into the full and feisty Umgani River, Robin Kime now, knowing that she's got more than 10 minutes in the bank, and she has the luxury of being able to measure what risks she was going to take on the river. While Abby 80 behind her knows that she is going to have to throw just about all caution to the wind if she's going to try and narrow that deficit.
So fun! Waiting for the dam.
A lot of rough water between Ngomeni and the dam. Here comes Robin Kime. Into Tombi she goes, nails the line in position A, hardly gets her splash cover wet. But there's trouble as she goes sliding down the big rocks at Hippo. She's bent her rudder and bent it quite badly as well. Luckily, there are friendly hands on the bank to lend her some assistance. Abby 80 takes a very similar line, sliding over the big granite dome at Hippo Rocks. This is why it's called Hippo. And then it's a case of winding down the 10 kilometers all the way through to the extremely festive finish of the ladies' race at Mcincy Resort. Remember, the Dusi Queen's throne is vacant right now. Could it be Kimes?
Rob's good day out there.
Yeah, lovely day. There was a nice water release from Nagle Dam. So as soon as we got to the confluence, it was just this big rush of nice clean water. It was quite daunting in the beginning, but as you settle into it, it's great fun.
So the only blemish on her day was that bent rudder blade, but Robin Kime now laughing with a 17-minute lead going into the final stage at the 82nd, Pitchford third.
The women's race certainly is ending up being a one-horse race, if you don't mind me using that term. John Edmonds, the man who holds the singles record for more than 20 years, has joined us to take a look at exactly what we can expect in the morning. And John, firstly, before we do that though, conditions as tough here on the dam as I've seen them in many a year.
Yeah, I was just speaking to Kevin White, who I did the 94 Dusi with, and he said he's never paddled across this dam with the wind on it. And I must say, yeah, more fun.
I know that you've got a question for the man on my right-hand side about how Ant Stott will approach tomorrow.
Would you give Ant a big tick for today? I mean, he reeled in Andy Burkett really early on, and then it was setback, punch, counter punch, and then they end up all square.
Yeah, Ant's phenomenal on this day. I mean, really, he has owned this day for many years, even back as far back as 1991, when Pope and I were doing battle. We were getting word from our seconds that there was someone on the charge coming up behind us very fast. And it was Ant, and fortunately for us, he swam at Tornby. But since then, he's owned that second day. So tough for him. Credit to Andrew Burkett for not losing more time, for Ant pulling back 3 minutes. But I expected Ant could have done more, you know.
I'd like to hear from you in Ant's position tomorrow, over or around Burma?
Oh my word, this is it. This is the classic Dusi debate. The river's going to be going at about 25 cumes, so the paddlers won't be slow going around. In fact, for most of them, it'll be a 50-50 call going over Burma or paddling around. Has Andy Burkett been doing the serious running training on the hill to justify going over? Ant hates it, but he'll do it under duress. John, what would you do?
Look, it's definitely the third day is a runner's day. The fastest times that have been done on this third day have been by runners. So the cards have fallen for Andy Burkett, being level with Ant. He's favoured to win it, but Ant has done so much training that he could minimise the damage, and he is very strong with his marathon pedigrees, very strong in the water. So it's going to be an absolute cracker tomorrow.
It's the classic statement, only time will tell. John, good luck for your race tomorrow, and we'll see you, Dave, at the finish line. Look forward to you completing your 18th. We look forward to having your company as we show you the third and final day of the Unlimited Dusi, only here on your World of Champions. Just before we say goodbye, though, let's show you how things went just a bit further back.
Still got nothing to say.
Yo, it's a tough hill. I'm a bit tired though, so we all make it up the hill somehow. But all in the name of good fun.
The best thing about a Gameni is getting it finished, which is right here.
Oh, it's been awesome. Awesome. Can't really see through the glasses, but it's been pretty good.
I'm tired, but there's 50 doozies in this boat, 32 and 19.
It's just great to be there, and it's always an exciting event.
Don't forget to catch us live from the finish at Blue Lagoon on Supersport at 1 o'clock tomorrow.
As well at the same time. We joined in our makeshift studio by former Miss South Africa, Nicole Flint. On my right. Nicole, nice to have you with us.
Yes.
And race announcer Doug Bird, who I must say has done a wonderful job throughout the 3 days. Doug, good to have you with us as well.
Thank you.
You guys have been asked to present a program called The Unlimited Rush.
Indeed.
Tell us about it.
Really excited. It's really just about adrenaline races. It's I don't know. It's something that I'm really excited about. It's getting the high heels off, the makeup off, and just being yourself.
The opposite of being Miss South
Completely
Africa.
completely opposite. But it's something exciting. It's a challenge. And yeah, I think I hope Doug's excited. I'm not sure. Hopefully, I'm a bit nervous.
I'm nervous, hey, to be honest. I've heard things like AFF, advanced free fall skydiving, and all sorts. So
are they going to ask you to do some of this stuff?
I think so. Hey, I don't think.
By example.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite sure about that, Dave. To be honest, I'm pretty nervous, but I think it's going to be good fun. We'll take a lot out of the experiences.
What sort of sports, adventure sports, are we looking at? To give us a little resume.
Look, I think we'd want to start attempting things like adventure racing, maybe attempt surfing, skydiving, certainly abseiling. It's unlimited, really.
And taken to the extreme, that's the whole idea.
I think it's also around capturing extreme moments within a sporting code. So it doesn't necessarily need to be an extreme sport. It can be an extreme moment as well, and that's the essence of what we're trying to capture.
Just before we let you guys go, what have you been keeping yourself busy since Miss South Africa title and all the rest of it?
Straight afterwards, I had a really long holiday, which was amazing, and then back onto the radio, something I love doing. You know a lot about that, and then yeah, hopefully just concentrate on the Unlimited Rush. I'm really excited to get going.
Well, it's interesting that Nicole is here with us because now we're going to take a look at the women's race, day 3, and even though there was a big gap, Robin Keim wasn't exactly sure that this would be a day that she wouldn't feel the pressure.
A beautiful sunrise at Inanda Dam greeted the ladies for day 3.
Yeah, I think I'm going to run over Burma. Got to take the rapids carefully. I've just got to have a conservative day today and keep pushing it hard through to the end. I'm very looking forward to the sight of the finish.
Splendid conditions here for the ladies as well, and we see Robin Keim having a really solid paddle over the last 2 days to finish in first place at Inanda Dam. Of course, she's got a long, lonely paddle all the way ahead of her through to Blue Lagoon. It's her race to lose here, folks, unfortunately, but she's a very consistent young lady and she doesn't often make mistakes. She's in a comfortable position here, so you'll probably see today she doesn't take all that many risks. That's not to say she won't push it hard on the runs and the paddles as well. Settling into a good rhythm up the hill. Remember, she's got 2 days of racing in her legs, and quite a way behind her, young Abby Adey will be there lying in wait for any mistake that young Robin Keim does make. from the aerial shot here. Robin looking very comfortable indeed, and these ladies are no slouches, folks. She's really running well. Hilary Pitchford, our third place lady, arriving at the takeout for the portage of the dam wall. Very efficient takeout there from her. She, of course, is away back in third, but as we've said, anything can happen. This is river racing. Robin Keim deciding to go for the safer option and sneaking tops needles down the far left-hand side, very gingerly and very slow indeed. Abby Adey going for the same option. These girls are playing it safe today. Hilary Pitchford deciding to go down tops right from the top, and she aces her line. She will certainly have caught up time there on the front two ladies. Robin Keim comfortably in the lead. You'll note that her stroke rate nice and slow and powerful, pacing herself brilliantly. She's an expert paddler here, folks, gaining experience from Abby Miedemer, who she won the race with last year. Entering the takeout of Burma Road, Robin has already crested the top and dragging her boat down the other side. Of course, deciding to go over Burma is a safer option for these ladies. They don't have to shoot the bigger rapids which lie in rate around Burma Road portage. And onto the headwaters of Blue Lagoon, it's still Robin Keim all on her own. She's approaching the Hyacinth portage. A wonderful water point greets them where she can refresh herself before she hits the long stretch home to the finish, with the golf course of Durban flanking her on the right-hand side. And here comes the lonely figure of Robin Keim, a stunning three-day performance from her. She claims first in the Unlimited Dusi in the ladies' race for 2011. Abby Adey in a solid second place, also no problems over the last 2 days for her. And the ladies' top three, Hilary Pitchford in third, Abby Adey in second, Robin Keim takes the win.
A wonderful win it was by Robin Keim. We're joined by her as well as our runner-up, Abby Adey, who's also joined us. The ladies, thanks for your time. Robin, let's start off with you. Has it all sort of sunk in a few hours later?
Yeah, definitely. I'm just so glad it's finished now. This time yesterday, I was feeling every ache and pain. I was feeling my shoulders were sore, my legs were sore. I was trying, very, very exhausted and trying to sleep, but not quite asleep, and you're stressing that you're not resting enough. But yeah, today I'm one day tireder, but I don't feel it at all. I suppose the excitement from the finish just keeps you going on a bit of a buzz.
You must have gone to sleep last night feeling that the pressure was off you to a degree, because 17 minutes is a really handy lead. You would have loved to have had that if I'd given you that before the race.
Yeah, it's a very handy lead, but in a way that adds to the pressure even more, because it means that if something does have to go terribly wrong.
Yeah.
But if you do give up that lead, it's a big embarrassment and it's a huge disappointment at the end of the day. So in a way, I was most nervous at the start of today, more nervous than the start of the race actually.
Abby, you did catch up at one stage. Your seconds let you know that you were 3 minutes ahead at one stage, or 3 minutes up at one stage.
Well, they said that at the end of the dam. I think it might have been a bit faulty that gap, because I found it very hard to believe, but I tried my hardest to go around. I didn't give up, at all, because like 2 years ago, I think it was, Rob's was 20 minutes ahead, and even when she hit the flat water in the Hyacinth, there was a problem, so you never know what can go wrong, so I still tried my hardest. Yeah.
You went round Burma and you took a little swim, you say, but you said only a little swim.
Yeah, it was about a minute. I just fell out, and luckily I could stand, so I just hopped back in. It was quick, hardly wasted any time there.
Robin, lastly, a highlight for you, this one? Obviously, is this the paddling highlight of your career?
Yes, definitely. The Dusi is the biggest race on our calendar, and especially coming from Pietermaritzburg. Growing up, before I really knew about paddling, about the Dusi. And yeah, to win a K1 year here is a dream I didn't think I'd achieve for many years.
And very significant, because you did it last year with Abby Miedemer, Abby Ulansky as she is now, and you're almost sort of moving into the space that she left vacant here. Maybe there's going to be a good scrap going on between you two over the years, but it's a great move for you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was a huge privilege to paddle with Abby last year, and I learned a great lot from her. It would have been nice to have her here this year, someone to race against. I think it would have definitely made it a closer, more interesting race had she been here.
Well, I've got to say, I got an email from Canada saying I will be back. So factor that in.
Yeah, she's already been talking about next year's double.
Okay.
So hopefully, if she's she's pregnant at the moment. So hopefully, if she's strong enough, soon enough, she'll be back again.
Plans are afoot. Robin, Abby, thanks so much for your time and congratulations. You really made the racing wonderful. Enjoyed watching you.
Okay.
Women's champion Robin Keim in the studio with us. Now let's show you how the men's racing developed today on the final day of the Unlimited Dusi Canoe Marathon, and what a final day it was.
It was a very early start for day 3 of the Unlimited Dusi Canoe Marathon. Some of the guys taking an early refreshing swim to prepare for their day 3 journey down to Blue Lagoon in Durban. There was much hype around the top end of the race here today. Of course, a humdinger of a battle that's been out here for the last 3 days between Andy Burkett and Stott.
Don't really know what to expect when I go out there and give it my best shot. Andy's going to be strong. I'm feeling good, and I can guarantee it's going to be an exciting day. We're looking forward to it.
Day 3 is a day that is shorter than the other 2 on the Unlimited Dusi Canoe Marathon. Just 32 k's starting again at Inanda Dam. A nice warm-up paddle of 3 kilometers before they hit the dam wall portage. From there, it's straight into the river, and Tops Needles greets them. It's a tough, challenging rapid where guys can easily break their boat. Side Shoot is up next, exciting Umzanyati, which is a very popular spectator point out there indeed. Of course, you then have the infamous Burma Road portage, which has decided many a race amongst the top men and the ladies. Heading in after that is the Pump House Weirs. It's the last major obstacle before the guys hit Blue Lagoon. Dog's Leg Rapid and Mango are 2 of the last major obstacles, and then from then on it's pretty much plain sailing all the way to the finish line in Durban at Blue Lagoon. Of course, exciting times here at the start of the Unlimited Dusi Day 3. Anstott and Andrew Burkett not going all that fast off the mark. You see Anstott sitting on the wave, although he did finish ahead of Andrew Burkett yesterday, conserving his energy. And look at this. What do we have here, folks? It seems as though Anstott has broken away very early on in the dam. And look at that stroke rate. He's working very hard indeed. The release from Inanda Dam today, perfect conditions for the guys, 25 cubics of water, and Anstott coming into picture. He will be looking forward to getting into the river, that being his stronger discipline here. Although he is a strong runner, young Andy Burkett in shot now is just that much quicker on him in the runs. So of course Anstott will be looking for any advantage that he can get. There we go, Anstott looking very composed and comfortable. A large stride there running down the dam wall, going to dragging his boat as opposed to carrying it. It is a lot easier and saves the energy. Of course, Andy Burkett, look at that. The youngster is slightly taller than Ant, so a lot faster down the hill there. Mike Mbunjwa in 3rd place, having a consistent race, a great recovery from his 4th position on day 1. He now sits in 3rd. Next up down the hill, it's Eric Zondi and Lance Keim. What's happening here? Oh, they almost tripped over their boats. Lance manages to avoid the collision and sneak around the left-hand side. He'll be hunting for a top 5 here today. First into the water is Anstott, deciding not to take the rapid from the top. Of course, it's a very challenging indeed. There we go, very bumpy sneak shoot down the left-hand side. He'll be losing time. Andy Burkett taking the bull by the horns, shooting Tops Needles right from the top. He'll certainly be gaining time on Anstott on that one. Anstott now heading into Umzanyati, the first major spectator point of the day. The banks will be lined with his spectators and seconds. He's a very, very popular paddler amongst the spectators here at the Unlimited Dusi. The water conditions out there today, you'll notice, very clean indeed. Andy Burkett looking cool, calm and collected, although he knows he's got a lot amount of work to do if he's going to be catching Anstott by the time he hits Burma Road portage. Well, here we go. We got the aerial shot and approaching the Burma Road takeout. Unfortunately today, not that much water going around, so Burma is no option. The guys have to do it today to be able to maintain consistent and competitive times. Anstott about to jump out of his boat. He's very slick at this. Of course, he comes from a world marathon paddling background, so this is just another day at the office for him. Mike Mbunjwa looking very consistent in 3rd place. He's a bit off the pace now, over 5 minutes behind. And Lance Keim up next, also looking clean, calm and composed. These chaps know this river backwards. Here we go, folks. Burma Road portage, and it's neck on neck. In fact, Andy Burkett has caught up to Anstott. What a phenomenal effort from him. Here he comes to the pinnacle point of Burma Road portage. Jason Graham, his partner from last year when he won the Unlimited Dusi Canoe Marathon, seconding him all the way to the top. Look at this. Andy Burkett is running, Anstott is walking. We have a change in a lead here, folks. Anstott now under pressure. Andrew Burkett gaining time and running away from Ant Stott on that very slow juice change there. Seconds count when it's a tough race like this at the top. Again, Ant Stott running very fast, dragging his boat. And here we have Pump House Wears, a bull line down the left-hand side. But youngster Andrew Burkett nails it. And Stott now approaching Pump House Wears also down the left-hand side. Very tentative and gingerly going over there, but he nails his line as well. A very good line indeed. Now it's the headwaters of Blue Lagoon. Now this has never happened before, folks, in the history of the Unlimited Dusi Canoe Marathon. Two boats together heading into Blue Lagoon. This looks like it's going to be an end sprint. We now have the big blockage here of Hyacinth at the headwaters of Blue Lagoon. Here we see the runners on a golf course trying to stick together, of course conserving energy. Both of these individuals will know they've got to save as much as they can for that incredibly demanding last 200 meters where they'll be going for the title. Mike Mbunjwa now in third position, looking very comfortable and strong, running very nicely indeed. Coming into the end sprint here, it is incredible, folks. Blue Lagoon, Andy Burkett, a powerful stroke right up front. Is Ant Stott going to come past him? I don't think so. It's a little bit too late. And here we go. Andrew Burkett, yes, folks, he is the champion for the 2011 Unlimited Dusi Canoe Marathon. So your overall results for the Unlimited Dusi Canoe Marathon: in third place, having a solid race, Michael Mbunjwa just ahead of him, and Stott, and in first place, Andrew Burkett.
Just about at the end of our telecast for the 2011 Unlimited Dusi Canoe Marathon. But it is nice to welcome in the studio the young winner, and how nice to have him with us, young Andy Burkett. Thanks for your time. And Stott, the paddler up, I should say, and how close it was. Andy, let's just talk to you for a second. When did you know you had it in the bag?
Well,
the last 5 seconds.
I didn't know at all. Yeah, definitely. It was very close until the last 5 seconds. But it's exciting, though. We had to race on the edge for 3 days, taking all the risks we could, which makes it a great race this year.
And you were also racing a great sportsman here. Let's make Ant blush while he's sitting on the stage here. It must have made it a little bit easier for you to go toe-to-toe with a really good athlete, knowing that he's a good oak.
Yes, it really is. But as I was chatting to Ant on the water, he's a real bugger to race against, because Ant will not give up. Hey? And as soon as you make a little bit of time on him, he'll just reel you in the water, and he will pull until he's got nothing left in the tank. So it is really hard racing against Ant, but it's great to race against such a great person.
But Ant, isn't that his biggest strong point? Isn't he the Velcro man?
Yeah, what's amazing, he's just like Martin Dreyer. He doesn't make mistakes. He's Mr. Consistency. He knows the river. He knows exactly what to do. And I have to go hard so that when I do make a mistake, I can catch up from the mistake I've made just before, whereas he just doesn't make any. So it is, for me, racing someone who doesn't make mistakes. You're just expecting them to make a mistake, and it just never comes, and that makes it really tough.
And you jumped onto Burma Road Portage with a 2-minute lead. Where was your head? Were you running ahead, or were you thinking behind?
No, I thought with 2 minutes going to Burma, I had more than enough time. I thought I wouldn't see him ever again. That was it, race over. And then I heard the clonk, clonk, clonk of his boat and his paddles coming up behind me, and I thought, oh no, here he is. But I thought, well, whatever gap he gets me running down, I'll catch him on the water again, which I did. And yeah, he just showed phenomenal form today.
And Andy, some stressful moments. I believe you put in at the Hyacinth where it wasn't all that easy to get away. That might have been a deciding moment as well.
Yeah, definitely. But we both put in next to each other and paddled off, and there was no frenetic activity or anything. So it could have been a deciding factor in the race, but luckily it wasn't. So neither of us had to stress about the water Hyacinth. We both put in right next to each other after both battling through the Hyacinth for quite a while.
But when you got to Canoe and you realised this is it, it's an end sprint. There's no other chance to make a break. It's literally the strongest man standing is going to take it.
Yes, definitely. That put a whole lot of pressure on ourselves coming to the finish. So we're both trying to conserve energy and not show too many cards. And we had to focus on the end straight and try and pull into the end straight. So it did add a huge amount of pressure on both of us in the end.
And it probably made the relief of that pressure even greater. Man, I saw you pile out of your boat. Try and describe the feeling.
Well, yeah, I wanted to turn inside out. I was really, really chuffed. I did surprise myself. I think that's the first time I've ever out-sprinted Ant. But it's an amazing feeling. What makes it even more special, as I said, is the huge battle we had for 3 days. So when you get to the end and you come out on top, that makes it a huge victory for myself.
Well, unfortunately, that is where we have to call it a day. Gentlemen, thanks so much for your time. It's been a pleasure. From the Blue Lagoon here in Durban, the finish of the Unlimited Dusi Canoe Marathon, I'm Arnold Getz for the whole crew saying thanks for watching. Until next year at the same time, make a date. We'll see you then.